What's up everybody, Defender here and welcome to another video. Today I want to have a rapid fire look at Kakul-Saydon, which is coming up in the next reset, and everything you can do to make sure you're prepared. Whether you're a newer player on a catch up or maybe a more seasoned player that's been playing since the game's release and kind of twiddling your thumbs waiting for more content to come, there's something for everyone in this video, so make sure that you stick around and you check out everything we go through to make sure that you're ready. As always, if you find this video useful, please consider dropping a like and a subscribe. I really appreciate all the support from you guys, it means the world to me. I've got a lot of informative videos planned for the future and I can't wait to bring them to you. And please let me know in the comments down below any ideas you might have for upcoming topics to discuss in Lost Ark, or if there's ways I can improve on the videos I'm doing at the moment, or maybe if you just want to correct some information I might have gotten wrong in the video, I'd really appreciate it. But with that being said, let's jump straight into today's video. Enjoy! Alright, so first up, let's talk about the encounter. So what we know without spoilers, obviously, because we want to go in without knowing the fight, without knowing the context, and just enjoy it for the first time. Even though Korea's had it for a long time, let's enjoy it. So what we know is that it's a 4-man instance, okay, so it's a little bit different from the other Legion raids, just to 4 people. So if you're in a group already of 8, consider splitting it down the middle, taking both sides and having 2 parties that clear. That's the easiest way to do it, and if you're not, there'll be plenty of people looking for groups, so don't worry. Okay, so it's a 1475 instance, and that's on normal mode. There is no hard mode. There is a practice mode at a lower light level, a lower eye level, and you can practice that, you can get some tickets, but you're not going to be getting the trumpets which enhance your sets. So it's 1475. And what does that mean for what we should be looking at in terms of our builds? So for the most part, if you've been playing up until now, you should be, if you're ready for Kakul-Saydon, at least 1475 eye level, right? If you're in a static, 1475 is fine. Everyone's agreeing to be a certain eye level before they go in. If you're going to be looking for a group, you want to be higher. Now I would say 1490 is probably your spot as a DPS that you'll be okay to get into a group, and as a support 1475 is probably going to be fine just because you're going to be desirable, you're going to be needed. There's a limited supply of supports, okay, but don't be the guy that sells your service. Okay, so 1475 support, 1490 DPS if we're looking for a group. Now let's talk about engravings. Okay, for engravings, if you're going in a group, 4x3 is going to be fine. Okay, 4x3 is enough for any of the content up to Kakul-Saydon, including Kakul-Saydon. Okay, I know because we've been having a lot of down periods between content, everyone that's higher up likes to be 5x3. It's kind of expected now when you're going into an instance, especially in a LFG, that you're 5x3 if you're a DPS, or at least the equivalent, whether it's a 4x3 plus 2 plus 1, or a 4x3 plus 1, depending on whatever class you're playing. Maybe you're running something like a combat readiness gun lancer, or an esoteric flurry striker where you just won the level 1 engraving, those kind of things. So if you're in a static, 4x3 is enough. Gems level 7 is more than enough in every case. Okay, if you're looking for a group, you're going to want to be 5x3, just because if you think about it this way, if there's 10 DPS applying for the 3 DPS spots in the 4-man group, and you're a 4x3 and someone else is a 5x3 at the same eye level, they're going to take the 5x3 every time. And you can understand why, right? It's not rocket science. That person's going to be doing maybe an extra 20% damage, or they're going to have extra modifiers for their type of attacks. It's going to be a big difference between you and them. Okay, so don't take it personally, it's just how the LFG system is going to be, especially in the earlier stages for Kakul-Saydon. The first couple of weeks, you're really going to struggle to get into a group if you're not 5x3, 1490-ish DPS. Alright, so let's talk about the battle items that we know about. Spoiler free, I don't know anything about the encounters. I've just been told by some people that know them, that of course you're going to want your best HP pots, so no being stingy with greens and blues. You know, you want to make sure that you're healing up as high as possible, so make sure that you're rocking good potions. So you're going to want to bring at least Elementals, if you can afford to bring Splendids, then even better, but I wouldn't say for progression that's worth it. And then the big one is Whirlwinds. Whirlwinds is going to be needed in at least 2 out of the 3 gates from what I'm told. So make sure you have a big stock of Whirlwind grenades, or that you're holding on to plenty of the battle chests that you get from Twitch and the giveaways and all sorts of stuff they give us. They hand us them every week basically. And then lastly is Panacea, or the Purifying Rune, is very nice quality of life thing to have. I'm not sure if it's mandatory, but make sure that if you don't have the Purifying Rune, that you go and get a hold of it ASAP, just because it is such a strong rune to put on a low skill cooldown that you won't regret it, okay? Obviously, if you're a slower class as well, you're going to want something like Swift Robes or Marching Flag. I'm not sure which box the Marching Flag is in, but it is readily available in one of the battle item chests, and there you go, in the utility one. So you can stick with the group, you can keep up with any mechanics, especially for me, like I'm on a destroyer, for example. We're inherently very slow. I play Gun Lancer as well, also very, very slow. So I'm aware that I'm not as fast as all the other classes, especially swiftness-based DPS and supports. They're going to be max movement speed. I'm not going to be able to keep up with the boss and with them. So Swift Robes or Marching Flags are a must. So those are the basics for finding a group or being in a group, for what you should be bringing as a standard across the board. Now cards, you should be at least running the Lostwind Cliff set with the crit rate. If you're not, there are budget versions of cards for each class. You could run something like the elemental damage for some of the martial artists. You could be running HP for your supports, so that your shields and your heals do more. There are alternatives, but as a base standard, you want to have the Lostwind crit. If you have the Light of Salvation bonuses from the other set, then even better, but that's not expected at this level yet. We're not that far into the game to be expecting that, okay? Obviously, as a standard with all content, you want to make sure you have the right split of your main stats. It doesn't matter if your engravings are good and your gems are good if you're running the wrong stats, right? If someone applies for a group and they're running expertise domination in a build and it's not the correct stat distribution, they're just going to be memeing, they're going to be inting. It's not what you want in your group. So make sure that you're running the right stats in as high quality accessories as you can get a hold of, okay? If you're low on Fions right now, with the market being absolutely abysmal, then it's understandable. There is an option to help you out in a pinch. You go over to the Amethyst Shard vendor, you can get yourself a hold of, I believe, 125 Fions, and that might not sound like a lot, but it's actually, I believe, what, 4 or 5 accessories, so it's pretty significant, right? So here you can see you can get these. It's going to cost you a fair amount because each one's going to cost 2,200, but you can get 5 of them. So for 11,000 amethysts, you can get yourself 125 Fions. Okay, so it's an option. And whilst we're here, Crystalline Aura, make sure if you're in a static or you're with a reliable group of people, don't be that guy that doesn't have an aura, okay? The aura doesn't cost real money. You can get it in game by playing and transferring with gold, buying the service. It's a must, right? You need to be able to repair. You need to be able to stay in the instance. Don't be that guy that has to back out to repair. Okay, nobody wants that. And whilst we're there as well, don't be the guy that doesn't have enough of the awakening shards. Okay, you, as a support especially, you're going to be going through 4 or 5 of them each attempt. So you're going to be going through hundreds very, very quickly. Make sure you have enough of those. Okay, and then if we touch on the last few points that I want to touch upon is the relic set. Make sure that you have at least the 6-piece or the 4x2 or whatever your class runs. Make sure you have 6 relic pieces of gear in your armor and your gear sets, okay? That is the reason we're doing Kakul-Saydon in the first place, is to upgrade this set to level 2. So make sure that you're running 6-piece relic. You should have had plenty of time by now to get access to all 6, and if you don't, make sure you have at least 4, because 4 tends to be a very pivotal part in the sets. Alright, very last thing I want to talk about, which is a minor detail, is group synergy. Group synergy is what's referred to as the split in your team to make sure you're running an optimal group, right? So if you think about someone like a sorceress. Sorceresses debuff the boss with increased damage, okay? And then you look at a martial artist. Martial artist debuffs the boss for crit resistance. So they go well together, but having two of the same isn't necessarily a good thing. So that isn't exclusive to those classes. Berserker and Sorceress, they have a very similar debuff, which increases the damage the boss takes. Now they do stack, but it also isn't optimal, especially in a 4-man group. You want to have a defense down, which comes from something like a destroyer or a gun lancer. I believe there are other classes as well that do it, but a defense down, you want to have a damage increase from something like a Sorc or a Berserker or a few other classes, and then you want to have some kind of crit buff, which comes from things like gunslingers, martial artists, etc. Okay, those three combined with the support pretty much optimize how you want to play your group. Make sure that everyone has increased damage, increased crit chance. The boss is taking more damage from having a lower defense. And it just pairs well across the board. It's like having a nice even split of all the different ways that you can do damage increased. Okay, some classes are heavily reliant on crit, especially, so making sure that you're improving crit for some is instrumental in doing the most damage and completing the counter as quick as possible. But yeah, that is all the bullet points I wanted to rush through today. Make sure that you've got all those ticked to the best that you can. If you haven't, then maybe try and find yourself a group before the update happens, so that you're not trying to go into the LFGs and getting rejected over and over again, or just sitting in the pendings, not getting accepted, because that happens a lot. Make sure you give yourself the best chance to get into the content as possible, so that you're not missing out. And yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching the video. Stay safe, enjoy the game, don't burn out, and hopefully enjoy the new content. Peace.